Go. Okay, welcome back. And we're talking about making teacher videos part two. This is how to actually go ahead and create them on your Mac computer, anything running a Mac OS. And they have a built in program called Quicktime, which we're going to use today to show you how to do this. And I also had another word about microphones. Let me start there. As you get doing this, you might want to think about buying a microphone. I have found I just wasn't satisfied. I'm not too much of an audio snob, but I had a hard time using the built in mic to record my videos. Um, Again, I would move my computer slightly and it would like record all these scratches. It would pop a lot. I would get weird static feedback. So if you want to avoid those things but don't want to pay a lot of money, I would recommend this one that you see on the screen here from Amazon. I mean, you can buy it anywhere, but it's the Logitech USB headset H390. I find this one to work pretty well for me for the price. If you're really into microphones and really into audio quality, podcasters use you can find very expensive microphones that do a whole bunch of other things for you and really clean up your voice and make you sound great. If you're thinking about that, you probably know more about audio than I do already, and so I shouldn't tell you any more about that. But this one, if you want to spend just a tiny little bit of money, and well, you don't really want to spend money, but you can't stand the sound of your voice on the regular mic, this one might be the best bet. So speaking of that, the first thing I want to show you, if you do plug in your own, like mine's a USB, so I plug it into the computer. The first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to come up to my system preferences, and I'm going to take a look at my sound. And depending on which one you chose last, there's going to be different things, right? But right now, my output is set to come through my USB headset so I can hear myself. And my input is set to be coming into my USB headset so I can see myself. You're going to hear myself again. Anyway, you're going to want to play with this. You might want to do some tests and like just record a few seconds of video and see how your sound levels are. Too high and you could get some feedback, so hopefully you're not getting that now. Too low and it's going to sound like you're whispering. I find that I tend to talk somewhat quiet when I'm by myself talking to a computer, so I try to set mine pretty high. You might have to play with the output as well, because sometimes I have had strange issues with if the output is high, then the input gets distorted. I think with this headset, it's not as big a problem as if I was using the built-in. So that's how to adjust some of your settings in that if you feel like you need to. And then, let's see if I can get back to where I was. So now we want to talk about Quicktime. So Quicktime is a built-in program. If you're on a Macintosh and you press the command button, which is the funny looking thing next to your spacebar, and press the spacebar at the same time, it'll give you this thing called the Spotlight Search, and you can type in Quicktime. Mine finds it right away because this is how I load up my program all the time. And I press enter, and it's going to load Quicktime. Now for me, I already am doing Quicktime. That's what this symbol here means. I'm recording my screen. So I can't go through all of the process on this, but if I was to do a screen recording, I would take my menu here and I would go down to new screen recording. So new movie. This is if you want to do your, film yourself in front of the classroom. Your built-in camera on your computer can take care of that for you, and you can see yourself on your screen while you record. New audio recording obviously would just be like a podcast kind of thing. No screen, no output at all, just audio. And I usually do the new screen recording. I don't know what would happen if I click this while I was also recording. So I'm going to head back to here and show you on my screen capture. Depending on the version of Mac that you're using, like the operating system, it might look like this, and I'll show you the update. Mine has been recently updated, and it looks different now. But if you see this when you say screen recording, there's a couple things you should know. The first one is there's a tiny little arrow right here, and when you click on that arrow, you're going to get some options. And that's where it's going to list which microphone you're going to use. If you forget to do that, it can be defaulted to none sometimes, and then you record an entire video and you go back to listen to it and you've got zero audio. So you're going to want to make sure that you pick up which audio you want. And also this, I don't know if I've clicked recently, but if you click during a audio screen recording, it should, if you put this, it'll kind of show where you click. And it's really a nice thing because as I'm talking and moving my mouse around, you don't know where my mouse is, or I don't know, where my mouse has rested for a second and clicked that I think, oh, that should be obvious. Everybody should click there. So this kind of captures your clicks so people can see, okay, he has clicked on that button. He hasn't just pointed at it. So that's a good thing to have going. I think it's on by default. When you're ready for those things, you press the red button and you're going to start recording. I think it gives you a few seconds before it really begins, which means you have a couple seconds to try to not exit out of QuickTime, but change to the screen that you're hoping to show. Like if you want to show a default screen on a Keynote page or Google slide, you have to quick switch over to that program and play the slideshow, excuse me, and then the slideshow will come up right around the same time that it starts to record. One of the hardest parts of this whole thing is timing. And by the way, if you ever, this is, one of my favorite jokes is timing. Why am I so bad at telling jokes? So that's what that means. But anyway, figuring out when to start talking can be tricky. I think that my QuickTime is actually doing something different than I expected. I think it's part of the update, is that it waits for me to start talking before it starts to record. But then it always cuts off the first thing that I say. So I'm going to start saying a few things before I actually want to begin. So maybe say something and give a little pause and then say hello, welcome, so that it is actually recording. But otherwise, you want to play with that beginning part and go back and listen to yourself at the very beginning and see when it actually starts to kick in to record, because otherwise it can sound really bad at the beginning, which mine probably do because I'm still working on this, just like my joke timing as well. When you're done, you're going to have, like I said, this little thing right here says that I'm recording. To finish, really the only way, there might be a button, a shortcut to press to stop it, which would be cool to know. I should look that up. But I go up on my mouse and I hit this little button, which means everybody watches me end the program. I'm like, okay, here I am, I'm ending, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit the stop button. But I figure that's okay. If you had a shortcut on your keyboard, you could just press it and it would stop. So that would be a cool thing. I'm going to add a slide as soon as we're done here to figure out how to do that. But anyway, you hit that and it stops. You come back, it'll bring you back. It'll actually show you your screen that you've recorded, your movie, and there'll be a play button that you can hit play and listen to yourself. You should, of course, do that to make sure that it sounds okay and everything works out. I know it might be torture to have to sit there and listen to what you just said, because you know what you said, but it's a good idea to listen to yourself and make sure that it's working before releasing it to the world and finding silly mistakes. But then you'll want to go to the save button and save that file and put it somewhere so that you can do something with it. And we'll talk about the things that you can do with it in the next video. And then finally, this is what the new thing looks like instead of, if I could get back to instead of this, when I say I want to record a new screenshot, it's now showing me this. So if you see this, that's the new one. And make the microphone work and some other things that's going to be under the options button. So you click there to turn your mic on. And there's a new thing here where it gives you this countdown. So you can say, wait 5 seconds before you begin recording. And it gives you a little countdown, which I like. But then again, as I mentioned, I'm waiting 5 seconds and the countdown goes away, but it's still cutting me off. So I haven't mastered my timing yet, and I'm working on that. This is just, do you want to record just a piece of the screen? Do you want to record like a window of the screen, or do you want to record the entire screen? So I always choose this one by, oh no, sorry, I guess it's this one. Yes, I choose this one so that I record the entire screen. Hopefully you don't even see that and it won't matter. The other thing I wanted to say about this version is that it automatically saves my work on to the desktop when I'm done, which is kind of nice, but then you have to remember that you have all your, if you've done multiple takes, all of your multiple takes are there recorded on the desktop for you, so you probably want to delete the ones you don't want anybody to ever see ever again. And that should be everything. I'm now going to go up and hit the stop button. Thanks for listening. I hope this helped.